Hello. So this is a little software demo on a simple program that I wrote in Kotlin that is a task manager. So um, it's just console based. It's nothing fancy, but we've got a few different things here that I learned as I was going through and writing this application. Spent just about 10 hours on this, so it's a very simple thing, but it was really cool. It was really fun to learn a little bit about Kotlin, and hopefully I can apply this a little bit later on um, in Android development. We've got a few different libraries here that it's going to use for file reading that we'll write the test. So we'll talk a little bit about that later. But um, the uh, the actual loop, right, is this is the main function that it'll iterate on. Um, Creates a little instance of this task manager, which is what actually does all of the managing of the different tasks that you create, just in a simple loop, right, that we've got going here. It always starts the loop by listing out all the tasks that we have, which is a function that we've defined previously, and then printing out the menu options for the user to then choose between. It'll read that, and then based on what that input is, there's a switch statement that we've got here, where it'll either add the task and query the user for a task query for a task name. You can option 2 is to delete a task, right? And then option 3 is just to exit. And then when that happens, it'll write all of those tasks that we currently have to a text file that we've got over here, right? Um, and then on startup, right? Um, it'll read all those tasks from a file and input those into the little task manager. So the different tasks, right, they're all pretty simple, but I guess this we probably start by doing these other ones. So this list task one just goes through, and I guess you've got a list of tasks that it has here, right? With the ID for each of those tasks that just increments every time we make a new one. Um, and we can list the tasks by it'll just iterate through the array and just print um, the ID and the task name, right? You can add a task just by you pass it this parameter string, and then it'll increment the ID when you do that, so it'll automatically resolve that. This is the thing that queries the user for a name of the task and then returns that, and then this one deletes it, and also will then make sure that all the IDs are there, right? So if you had tasks like 1, 2, and 3, you delete 2, it won't have 1 and 3, it'll have 1 and 2, right? Um, and then we've got these up here, right, which are the ones that write to the file. So it creates a little reader object that will then go in and look through each of the lines of code and make an array, and then we iterate through that array and add that to um, the um, the list of tasks that we've already got. And then same thing for the write task, right? It goes through the list, right? We pass it the list as the argument, and then it'll write a line to this file for every task that we currently have in there, right? So we can kind of demo this, right? If we start this off, it'll start by just listing out these tasks here. These are the ones that I previously had, right? So to debug and then to write to file, right? So now that we've got that implemented, right, I can press 2 and it'll mark we can mark the task completed. So that's task 2, right? So we're going to tell it to do that one. So now when it prints out the task, right, it's just debug, right? So we've also completed that one, right? So we can enter and then we can do this new one, right? Oh, except for that's okay. So the exception I did not. I actually took out the exceptions out here. So maybe we'll run that because I implemented the wrong ID. That's one thing that I actually did learn about in Kotlin that was really cool is the try and catch that I took out for debugging purposes just because I was having some struggle to get it to compile as is. But there's this really cool thing that you can do where you can have it try to do some method, and then when it if it doesn't work right, you can have it tell an exception, and then it'll do something else given that doesn't work. Anyway, so we'll go here. So we'll mark the task as completed. We'll do this one, and then we'll mark the other one as completed. So now that these are empty, we can add a new task, which can be add GUI. And then I'll put that in here. And then if we exit this code, right, it'll say task saved successfully. And if we now restart this, we can see that it prints out that one instead of the previous ones in here. We can see in the text file it also has that, right, where it's now written that as the task that was in there before. So you can save this between sessions, right? And then the long term goal is right to then implement this with a graphical user interface and eventually a database instead of just a simple text file. So I'm going to continue working on this and developing it. But this was a really fun project to help me learn more about Kotlin, and I really really like this language. It feels super fun. So yeah, so hope you enjoyed, and we'll be making future content on this. So.